What's going on? What's up? It's your boy, it's your host, Jamar Jones, and welcome to another fire episode of the Foureva Podcast, where we talk about things that are business and things that are personal because business is personal. And myself, I'm the host, Jamar Jones. I am the founder of Foureva Media, branding and media agency, and also a national speaker and the author of the book, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. And today we keep bringing heat every single episode. We keep bringing this heat. And we got a special guest today. I'm really intrigued by where also he's at in his career and how we got connected. I was actually followed him through LinkedIn, and and I just started to kind of peep just like what he was doing, and like he was kind of posting different interviews, his journey, and I'm like, dude, I'm super intrigued, especially a black man getting into the media space. I'm like, this is something I want to dive deeper into. And, from being also a black entrepreneur myself, I wanted to kind of see what that path looked like as we'll dive into. But we got Chris Gunther in the building, man. What's up? Let everybody know what you got going on in your life.
What's good, man? Thank y'all for having me. This is a wonderful platform, wonderful host. Shout out to the crew behind the scenes making all of this stuff happen too, man. So much love to you guys. Chris Gunther from the Chris Gunther Show, also the sideline reporter for the Cleveland Chargers of the NBA G League. Thank y'all for having me, man. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So first I gotta ask you right off the bat, um, what is it like interviewing all these players? Like, do you get nervous? Do you feel like you gotta ask the right questions? Like how is that? How is that for you?
I love it, man. I love challenges. I love learning about new things and being in this kind of position. It's amazing. The players, most of them are, pretty cool, pretty, chill. The coaches are very nice. There's only one thing I hate. I wish that I could, stand like a little stool and be eye level with them because they just towering over me. Like I'm 5'6", So here I am talking
I
to a bunch
feel
of
that.
brothers that's like 6'7", 6'8", and it's kind of like, they're Shaquille O'Neal and I'm Kevin Hart.
Right. It's like,
Other
dude.
than that, I love it, man.
Right, right. And how did you get into this, man? Like what was the journey? Did you know that you wanted to be in the media space, or did this kind of just fall in your lap? Talk to me about a little bit on the journey.
I knew it ever since I was in high school. This is what I wanted to do. Like growing up, the black kids of the world, let's just call it like we see it. We think the biggest way to be successful, we got to be basketball players or we got to be athletes or we got to be rappers. That's just it. And a lot of times we're not exposed to other great things that you can do. We're not exposed to the doctors, the lawyers. We're not exposed to other great people that look just like me. And on TV, I was always fascinated by watching people like Stephen A. Smith, like Chris Broussard, the late great Stuart Scott, cool as the other side of the pillow. And I
Yeah.
always loved seeing the way that they did stuff, or watching Inside the NBA, and then you had the guy Ahmad Rashad doing his thing, and I said, "This is what I want to do, just to be able to connect with the players." And I always wanted to do it, and that's something that really stood out to me. And I knew it ever since I was a teenager. I'm like, nah, this is what I really want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was it about media that really attracted you to it?
I love being able to connect with those. I love being able to kind of tell a story and get a chance to sit down and know somebody in that little bit of time. Because, like we had alluded to off camera, time is a very valuable thing that you cannot waste because you'll never get your time back. So why not go ahead and make the most of it while that you know what I'm saying, have it. And with me,
Right.
the biggest thing that I learned was I want to become the person that someone says, I want to do an interview with Chris because he's gonna let me tell the truth. He's gonna let me tell my side of it, and he's an easy person to talk to. And
Yeah.
in this business, something I have learned is, man, you got to be able to have those tough conversations, but on the flip side, you got to be somebody that they can trust. Once you have their trust, you good. But once you lose their trust, man, you like the Dallas Cowboys. You just somebody ain't got no hope.
So I can tell you're not a Cowboys fan.
Oh, not at all. No, no, sir. Nah,
Not even close.
not even close at all, man. But that's a conversation for a different day, man. That's a conversation for a different day, bro.
Cool, cool. Well, yeah, because I feel like the media space is kind of hard to crack. So how did you get into doing what you're doing today? Like, did you have any mentors in your life? Did you have any, opportunities that came up your way? How did you get those opportunities?
Back in college, I did a radio show where I did hip hop, R&B, and gospel. And I grew up in the church. I still am heavily affiliated with the church. Period. That's gonna always be my home. But what I learned early was I can reach more people by going outside of the church walls and going outside of the things that we all grew up in, because the world is bigger than just the church. And because I was a pretty good basketball player, and I always knew that that was going to be my avenue. What I said was I want to use this to showcase not only Christ, but to showcase somebody who is young and black and can have success with it. So I got started back in college. I did a
Okay.
hip hop, R&B, and gospel show, and then I was also covering sports at the exact same time. But we had a couple things happen behind the scenes, politics and favoritism, stuff like that, kind of messed me up. So I covered basketball and football for about 2 years, and it was great.
Hmm.
But then what kind of started to happen was people started to just want to box me into the gospel realm because I was having so much success with it. But I could debate sports with anybody, especially basketball. And sometimes
Yeah.
people would try to box me into just well, he just do his little gospel show. And here's the crazy part:
Mm,
me doing my quote unquote little gospel show, I was number one for 4 straight years. So,
mm,
that kind of is a little bit of leverage and leeway. But once I graduated, I had, no job offers, which is crazy because here you go from having the number one show to you don't even have a job lined up. So I started to, grind and apply to everywhere, from TV stations, radio stations. Nobody was giving me a chance. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just jump out here and start doing stuff. So shout out to my mom, who, gave me this tripod. Well, she didn't really gave it to me. It was hers. I just took it, never gave it back, because you know how we do it. So I took my mama's janky tripod, right? And I took a selfie stick, and I had like my main tripod just like that. And I just started going into my community, Youngstown, Ohio, and I started to just do sit downs with people, from, the judges and coaches. By my third show, I was starting to gain a lot more traction. So therefore, I'm building and I'm building and I'm building, and it caught the
hmm
attention of a TV station that was down here. And I will not say the name, but let's just say that they know exactly who they are. And I was with them briefly, but the fit wasn't right. And
hmm
I got to a point where I said, I'm gonna become so good at what I do that the next time they see me, they're gonna be like, "We should have got him." Well and behold, a
Yeah.
few years later, I mean, they're still saying that, but it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things I want to unpack with that. So first off is the word little. So in my lifetime, so I'm on my it's about 7.5 years, so a little bit over almost close to a decade doing business.
Yes, sir.
And some lady about by year three, she's like, "Oh, you got this little business, you and your little business." She kept saying that term. And at the time, it got to me a little bit, but I didn't like it. She was a client of ours, but
Uh
she
huh.
kind of always looked at me like, "You got your little business." And I didn't know if that was how to really take that in. But I think that is something that's common when you kind of look at, especially young black men, and you start to look at like, "Oh, well, you got your little thing over there." It's like, dude, what we doing is also can be big, and honestly, like for you to say you had the, number one gospel show, for 4 years in a row is super impressive. And that's not little to say anything of the least. So I just wanted to more comment, first of all, that because I've also experienced that, where somebody said, "Oh, your little business," and we were doing some really good things. I mean, that was year three. We're doing a lot bigger things now, but it was
Yes, sir.
even back then, it was crazy. And so the other thing I want to, kind of touch on is like a lot of times also as black men, we also have this chip on our shoulder, like there's a lot to prove. And so like you kind of had that at the end where you were like, yeah, I'm gonna show everybody, and especially them that slept on me and didn't believe in my full potential. And that's something that I feel like it just comes like innately almost in just how we grew up. just within us, man. We're just, relentless hustlers and wanting to prove, what we're capable of. And where did you get that? Do you know kind of where that came from?
I was born with it, plain and simple, because that's something
Yeah.
that you can't teach. You just got to have it. Coming from where I come from, just being honest with you, I'm from a very small town where not a lot of people make it out. And we have a lot of people that are talented, but then as time starts to go on and whatever they're talented with, they burn out. And
Mm,
that's just that's the human nature of things. Sometimes you just get burned out, but I've been so blessed to be able to keep going, strong. I may have to take a little bit of a pause really quick, but I'll never quit. So to answer
yeah.
your question, where did it come from? I mean, I saw both of my parents work hard, and I saw a lot of my friends work hard. So to me, it just came natural. I was born with it, but I also had some great examples of hard workers.
Yeah, just around you, just around your circle and the people. So you feel like you're, as far as your home life, you feel like you grew up in a good home, that you were able to learn from that as good examples.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I grew up watching my parents take care of people that had disabilities their entire lives, and saw them do that forever. And that's, first of all, anybody that has to do that, God bless you, because that is not an easy task, because they're still human like we are, but they are in constant need of a little bit more attention than the average person. So to see
Right.
my parents do that for over a long period of time, that always made me wonder, what am I going to do when it's my turn to start working hard? And that was
Yeah.
my thing. Like, I was a hard worker ever since I was a kid. I played basketball my entire life. And while I was never the tallest person on the court, I always played with this right here. You got to have
Yeah.
heart, because if you don't have
Yeah.
this, you don't have anything. I took the same mindset that I took from playing basketball into the media realm. Just work hard, and just give it your all every single time that you can. And if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, man, I gave it my all, you really can't live with the results. I know that sounds very cliche, but the reality of it is, face it, Michael Jordan didn't become Mike overnight. LeBron
No,
James didn't become
not at
LeBron
all.
overnight. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that go along with it. All you gotta do is just, have that heart and just have that grind coming from this area. That's all that we know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, man. So how many applications did you actually fill out to get
A
to where you're at
day.
today? I just in total. Like, I want people to understand the work ethic that goes into this. Like, it's not like, "Oh, I sent out a couple and I landed with an amazing opportunity." No, it sounded like
Ooh,
you tried, took a
every
shot with
day.
somebody, wasn't a good fit, and then you just went bananas at it to say, "Hey, I gotta find a way in." And so how many of them was it?
As the good Lord as my witness, I was applying every day to about minimum of 4 jobs a day.
Mm,
And
mm,
I did that for about let me see, because I graduated December of 17, and then I kind of got my quote unquote break, which wasn't even a break. It was like a little pause in the action.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got that in, I want to say it was August. So from
okay,
December of 17 to August of 18, I was applying for stuff every day, and it was like I kept getting told no. And then even when I got the position that was only temporary at that particular time, even then I wasn't satisfied, because I'm like, man, I didn't work hard just to do this. So
yeah,
for a
yeah,
long time, I just kept trying. And when I say everybody told me no, everybody told me no. Or the offer that they would try to offer you is so disrespectful. You'll say, I'm not doing this, and I'll just walk out. And I
yeah,
had to really come to, those terms and those grips where I said, I have to realize that nobody's really going to give me anything. So if you want it, you just got to take it at this point and become
yeah,
so great at what you do that those that rejected you, the next time they see you, they're going to do a few things. They're going to say, we missed out, or they're going to view you as the competition, or my ultimate favorite, they're going to try to collaborate with you on something. And I've had all three happen to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's super powerful, man. I mean, just the grit that you had going through that, and you still have so much more to,
Absolutely.
I mean, sky's the limit, but just showing, people how to actually obtain this stuff. It's not like it just falls right into your lap. So, want to ask a quick question, just off on a also on a side. What was it like interviewing Stephen A. Smith?
A dream come true, man. The guy who, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of and I respect his grind.
Yeah,
The To me, he is the biggest name in sports media, and I don't even think I don't even think you can debate that, because no matter what, this guy is gonna get viewers. Whatever you do, you're gonna watch Stephen A. Even if you
right,
claim you can't stand him, you're gonna be tuned into him some kind of way, because
right.
he's the biggest name in sports media. And here I am, a kid from the south side of Youngstown, Ohio, and I actually interviewed Stephen A.
Yeah,
Man, and it was a dream come true, man. And huge shout out to a mentor of mine who I look up to a whole lot, is
yeah.
Chris
Shout him out.
Broussard. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
Chris, kid you not, man. I met Chris Broussard when I was in high school, and this is him when he was still on ESPN. So imagine you're watching him on ESPN every day, and then all of a sudden you get a chance to meet him, because he was preaching at my aunt's church, mega church, and I think it was Cleveland, Ohio, and he came down to
Okay.
speak. And here I am getting a chance to meet him, and some of his people knew my uncle, and we went out to dinner after. So just think, now you're going out to dinner with the guy who you watch every day, and I'm asking
Yeah.
him so many questions about, what is it like covering basketball? What is it like working in the NBA? And fast forward, I had did like I guess he had called into my radio show back when I was in college. And ever since then, he's been a mentor to me. Like, I can actually reach out to him. Of course, I don't talk to him every single day because that
Of
man's busy.
course.
He got stuff to do. But I still make it an effort to reach out to, check in. And I actually called him when I got the job with the charge. And to
Yeah.
just, hear your mentor say, I'm proud of you, that kind of makes you feel good. It's kind of like, he's Tony Stark and I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ex- you know,
I love it. I'm
it's
a
like,
comic book head, so I love that.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like he's Tony and I'm, Peter, except we both black.
Yeah.
There we go,
Yeah.
Marvel. Get you some black superheroes up in there.
There you go. They got Miles Morales. They about to, get him into the universe.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah, that's super impactful because I always talk about how important it is to have a mentor in your life. And a lot of times it's hard to find a mentor, but a lot of times they're the people closest to us that we don't view as a true mentor.
Yeah.
Or it's people that come up into our life when we least expect it. But we got to have to take that opportunity to add value and be able to ask questions and just be that sponge, just to soak in that knowledge and don't take advantage of, where it's like, oh, just give me something, take. You got to be able to give things out to be able to receive things in return. And it's just so important to have that mentorship. And for you to have that, I mean, I could even see certain people saying like, "Oh man, that was kind of a break in a sense," because now you have some access at least within the media world with a very respectable media personality. To have that connection is absolutely great. But honestly, it was through your passion, through the church, through kind of osmosis, through family. I mean, there's so many other components that have to happen for that to even come true, which is fascinating. Um,
Yes, sir.
yeah, that's amazing, man. So now what is your day-to-day like life look like, being with the charge and then like what are your activities? Like I want some people to understand like what this media space is really like. Cause obviously we see, on the television,
Uh-huh.
people just doing interviews and, on maybe some sports shows, articles that come out, but like what is it really the day-to-day like?
I arrived to the arena a few hours before tip off. Get to my section, jotting down my game notes to see what I could do, what I can't do. Go to my broadcast partner and get his perspective, because he's been doing this longer than I've even been alive. So you go in to try to get, some pointers, and it also helps out to have somebody there who, was just trying to pay it forward, like I'm gonna do for the next person coming up. As the game is going on, I'm jotting down some notes. As I'm jotting down notes, I'm talking, to myself out loud to say, okay, ask this, don't ask this. and I'm starting to see how the game is how it's starting to unravel and unfold. Because if I didn't know basketball, there's no way I'm going to take this position. But I actually know the game. I've played it for so long. Now the fact that I'm getting paid to talk about it is pretty freaking awesome, if you ask me. And then after the game, if they win, I'm talking to the coach or the player. And if they lose, I'm shutting up, handing my microphone, and I'm going home. Plain and
You don't
simple.
you don't ask any questions if they lose?
No, 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 no. I'm not doing that at all, because you don't want to be the obvious guy. Like, say for instance, you're down by like 70 points and nobody wants to talk. And like, that's like, me being the reporter, and I just watch someone get dunked on. And the first question I asked them, hey man, how's it feel to get dunked on? You don't want
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah. Yeah.
So no, if they lose, just be like, hey, tough day at the office, but hey, the ball goes up again the next day, and you got a chance to right your wrongs and make it better.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's amazing. And is there anything you do off the court? Is there preparation, research? Like what does it look like when you're not on the court?
I'm watching basketball every single day. And if I'm
Okay.
not watching it every day, it's every other day. Not even so much on the G League side, but in the NBA side, to see how those sideline reporters do things, to see what, type of questions they ask, how they ask it, how do they look, how are they able to relate to the people that they're talking to, because they're not going to be on camera only for maybe about 30 seconds, and that's if that. So in that little bit
Yeah.
of time, be you, be authentic, but ultimately have fun with it. And that's what I'm doing every day. I'm just trying to get up and become better than I was when I first started.
Yeah, man. So you're really studying the game to figure out how you can be the best version of yourself in that space, but be true to you, so you're not copying, but it's more like you're studying to see how you can implement that with yourself.
100%. Study because you don't know everything, and just keep trying. The more that you try, the better that you'll become. The more reps at it, it's the better that you will become. And ultimately, my biggest focus has always been to just be the best that I can be. As much as I love Stephen A, as much as I love Chris Broussard, as much as I love Kerry Champion and Chris Haynes and Jamel Hill, Michael Wilbon, Rob Parker, and the list goes on and on. As much as I love Jalen Rose, etc., I love all of them. But I'm Chris Gunther. I can't
Yeah.
be them. I got to be me. I could respect them. I can admire their work. I could take maybe little things that they do, but they got to where they're at because they are who they are. They ran their race. It's time for me to run mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're running it, man. You're
I
definitely
appreciate it.
running it. You're definitely doing it, man. So that's really, I mean, that's incredible what you're doing and in this space. So what is kind of the next step? I mean, how like what does your path look like to you from being, at the charge in the G League? What's the next step? I guess, like, what's the path look like? I don't know for myself what that even looks like. What's the next step? What is uh I guess your career path look like?
It's no secret that I want to cover the NBA.
Yeah.
It's not a secret that I want to be a sideline reporter and work NBA games. It's not a secret that I want to be on television talking basketball. It's not a secret that I want to be on the biggest sports network, ESPN, Fox Sports, TNT, NBA TV. It's not a secret that's what I want to do. Those goals don't happen overnight. Those accomplishments don't happen overnight. It's not like I'm gonna be working the G League today and then tomorrow you're gonna see me debating with Stephen A. Smith. It just don't happen like that. Just being real, it don't happen like that. But what I can do is keep practicing, keep getting my reps up, keep doing the best that I know I need to do. So when it's time for me to take that next step, which will lead to those bigger doors, I can sit back and say, I remember when, I was doing games at the G League level, but now you see me at the next level. And then I
Right.
go to that level and learn it and learn it and learn it and learn it, and want to just keep on becoming the best that I can be at that. So once you accomplish that, you just move on to the next. And I think it
Yeah.
helps the fact that I'm still young enough to do it, because people think that 30 years old. Well, I'm only 27. I'll be 28 by
Yeah.
the grace of God, and next month. But I still have so much that I'm doing. But I was out to lunch with some of my homies a couple of days ago, and they had brought something up to me that I never really thought about. They had said, "Chris, do you see how far you've come in just 5 years?" And I started thinking, I'm like, I haven't really thought about that, but it's the God's honest truth. 5 years ago, I was starting the Chris Gunther show. And here I am 5 years later. I'm about a little bit under 50 away from 500 interviews total. That's a lot of interviews, man.
Wow. Wow.
That's a lot of freaking interviews if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you gotta reflect, you know. And I'm almost saying this for myself too. But
Uh-huh.
I've been trying to practice this more and more. But as you go through your journey, you gotta reflect.
Got
Because
to.
if you're always thinking about the next, you never took time to just, kind of soak your teeth in what you actually already created. And just be able to kind of taste the fruits of your labor, from doing that. And if you're so focused on the next thing, when you've already accomplished so much, which is incredible, incredible to have that. I mean, 500, it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is. It really is, man. Like, whew. Yes, it is. That's all I can say.
Yeah, man, that's super impactful. So, what advice would you give to others that are trying to get into the media space, in the sports world, that's really helped you? And try to be, I guess, with this answer, try to give them, some real technical ways that they can apply, or if it's soft skills, if it's certain negotiation tactics, even from that standpoint, what have been some real factors that have gotten you to where you're at today?
Biggest factor that the biggest advice, number one, I can speak for me, what has worked, have a prayer life. Number one is you got to have a relationship with God. None of this is
Mm,
possible without God. That's the number one thing that you got to have, man. The second thing you got to have is work ethic. Scripture says it very simple that faith without works is dead. Plain and simple. So, yeah, you can have all the faith in the world, but if you're not working, then what are you really doing? And the third thing that I would recommend somebody do is to be yourself. Be authentically you 100%. Learn whatever it is. Like if you're going into the marketing, learn marketing. What I'm doing is I'm in sports media, so I'm learning more about the business as I go on.
mm,
Work hard, be kind, and treat people with respect. Always be friendly. You never know who you're talking to, because the person that you probably were not a nice person to could have been a network executive, or could have been someone that's trying to launch a show and they were looking for another host, but because you weren't nice to them, they just wrote you off. So
right.
work hard, be nice to people, and enjoy the journey. Always remember, because I'm really starting to embrace this now, that this race I'm on is not a sprint. What I'm saying? It's a marathon. Growing up
Yeah.
in basketball, what I was always taught was it's not so much how you start, but it's how you finish. And I'm still in the first half of my life right now. So
Mhm.
because I'm in the first half of this thing called life, man, I'm gonna enjoy this mug. I'm gonna ride this mug till the wheels fall off. I'm gonna shoot my shots, and I don't care how many times I get rejected, because the more that you shoot, you're increasing your chances of scoring. So the more that you try, you're increasing your chances of landing what it is that you want to do. Those are the
Yeah,
best
man.
things that I would strongly recommend.
No, that's incredible. I feel like that's great advice. I always say that, life's not fair, you gotta even out the odds. That's one of the
I'm
chapters
gonna
in my
use
book.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm gonna use it, but I'm gonna use that mug soon.
Yeah, life's not fair. You got to even out the odds because, and everybody, is trying to fight for this idea that life's fair, and it's not. It's it's just innately not. So, how do you balance that out? You have to even out the odds. You have to give yourself more chances. You have to give yourself more opportunities. You have to set yourself up the best way possible for success. You have to, work a little harder. You have to figure out new ways. Like, you're not going to get these handouts. That's just not the way that life is set up. Even way back, if you even take it through way back in time, I mean, you might got eaten outside by some lions and some crazy creatures, and you're like, oh man, like there should be housing here, I should be protected. It's like, you better get a spear. you, you
Exactly.
better you better even this out and give yourself a chance of survival. I mean, that's kind of what it is. So obviously it's a very extreme case, but you kind of think of it like it's no different today. We have to
Right.
figure out different ways of how to survive, and we got to even it out. Especially in the minority space, we have to do things at a very high level, and we got to operate that way. It's for that success to even happen, and it's something that we got to constantly strive for. So the work ethic is crucial. It's crucial to achieve those things. So no, that's incredible, man. So what are some ways that people can get in contact with you and also to support you? What are some ways that people can do that?
You can support me by, following me on all social media: Facebook, Chris Gunther; Instagram, at Chris Gunther; Twitter, Chris L. Gunther. You can also, if you're on YouTube, catch me on YouTube at The Chris Gunther Show. Definitely check me out on the NBAGleague.com, as your boy is with the Cleveland Charge as the sideline reporter. Those are great ways that you can stay connected. Shoot me a DM or something of that nature. I try to respond as much as I possibly can. And
Yeah.
hey, if your people would like to donate, I'm always taking cash apps at $ Chris L. Gunther. So that definitely helps a brother out, because this is
Mhm.
a grind. This is a grind. This is a grind. This is a grind. Did I mention this is a grind, people? But it's all
100%.
good, man. Trust me, it's all good, because hey, you gotta just keep putting that work in, and hey, we're all gonna end up where we're all ultimately supposed to end up. If you don't give up, you'll end up on top.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on to the show. And I always tell people that the guests that I have on here, reach out to them. That's why we drop the socials. That's why we give these opportunities to connect, because you got to be able to take action. If you take action and you're just watching this, you're like, oh, it might be nice, blah, blah, blah. Just send them a message. You never know what's going to happen. And you may just change your circle to change your life. And that's what's so incredible about it. I shot Chris a message, and we were able to make it happen. And that's kind of what you just never know. You never know who's going to say yes. So definitely shoot your shot, send them a message, show your love, show your support. And for everybody watching and listening, definitely subscribe to the Forever Podcast, as we're going to keep dropping this fire for you. Drop a comment, drop a like, share out the content. It really helps us get this message out there. And as always, don't forget, if you can change your circle, you can change your life. I'm Jamar Jones, and I'm out. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more amazing content that we're going to be putting out. And don't forget, you can change your circle to change your life.